What's happening, guys? Oxford King here, and in this Monster Hunter Wilds video, I'm gonna walk you through how to get better performance in the game. Let's get started. So real quick before we begin, the Monster Hunter socials went ahead and made a post about the beta and the performance. They want to remind players that the improvements and adjustments we shared or they shared in the pre-launch community update around game performance, mechanics, and more are not reflected in this beta build. So just a heads up there that performance is going to be on the way for the full release of the game. A couple of programs that I like to use for clean install of drivers is DDU, or Display Driver Uninstaller. I love using this program. I'll drop links down below. And for Nvidia users, I like to use this program right here called NV Cleanstall. Instead of using like the traditional Nvidia installer, I use this one instead. That way I get rid of all the bloat and then have a clean, fresh install of the driver. Completely optional. You do not have to do either one of these two things. I'll drop a link to a video that I did for Final Fantasy 16 where I go over DDU and NV Cleanstall and how to run these programs. If you're confused, give that video a watch and then come back over here. Now, the big winner here, and the whole reason why I wanted to even make this video, is because of this program right here, Lossless Scaling, which you can purchase in the Steam store. Just go ahead and do a search for Lossless Scaling, and for USD, it's $6.99 plus a little bit of tax. And this is how I got Monster Hunter Wilds to run even better with Lossless Scaling. So once you run this, go ahead and pull this up right here. You can match what I'm doing. You can play around with this, completely your choice. But what I did here is I set the scaling mode to auto. You can put it on custom if you'd like, but I left mine to auto. It seemed to work fine. In the scaling mode here, it drops down to full screen and aspect ratio. I left mine to full screen. Didn't seem to have an issue here. Next over is the scaling type, where you're going to have all the scaling different types here. Now, it is recommended by the developers to use either FSR or NIS. The FSR is going to be the AMD version of that. NIS is NVIDIA Image Scaler, okay? And I chose NIS. I am running an NVIDIA card, but you can run either. Doesn't matter what graphics cards you have. It's completely your choice. If you are doing NIS, you can check out the sharpness levels here. The slider goes from 0 all the way to 10, and it will adjust in real time, okay? Over here, you have the frame generation. With the latest paid version, you're going to have the Lossless Scaling frame generation, which is what LSFG stands for, and the 3.0 version. You can drop this down and use the older versions if you want to, but I happen to like the latest 3.0. I think it's a lot better. Go ahead and select that, then come down here and select mode. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you. I would leave this at X2 or ×2 for now. If you feel like you're needing more speed or more frame gen, check out 3 and 4, but I will tell you this. If you do 3 and 4, it's going to introduce more of the weird frame gen artifact shenanigans that you see, a lot of ghosting and weird stuff going on with the higher the number. So I left mine on 2, but you can absolutely jack this up. You can even go custom, and you can go even higher. You can go as high as you want. But I'm just letting you know right now, you're going to get more artifact with it anyway. So I left mine on 2. Resolution scaling, I put mine all the way to the right. And basically what this does, the tooltip even tells you, processes input frames at a reduced resolution and generates output at the original resolution to improve performance. So if you want, I left mine all the way to the right for like 100% resolution scaling. If you don't want to do that, you can put it like, 50%, 55%, 60, or whatever you want to do. So basically it just upscales it. So I left mine at 100, but play around with this. If you're still not getting the performance you need, put this up whatever you like. Down here with the cursor area, I left all this off, completely your choice, but I didn't see the need for it for what I'm trying to do here. So I left it all off. Sync mode, this is like VSync, so you're going to have off default VSync and then a half, thirds and a quarter. I left mine to off where it says allow tearing, but I don't really see any tearing in my humble opinion, but your choice, play around with that. Another one here is the max frame latency. I left mine on 1, which is default, but it says number of frames that are allowed to be stored in a queue before submission for rendering, and you can read the rest, but I left mine on 1. HDR support, I turned mine off. If you're using HDR, turn it on. I do have a G-Sync monitor, so if you have G-Sync or FreeSync, G-Sync compatible, or at least a monitor with the chip in it, the module, go ahead and turn that on, which I have here. So after G-Sync, you can click draw FPS if you'd like. A number will pop up in the top left corner if you need that information. Next up is called Capture API. And if you hover your mouse, it actually shows you the DXGI captures only new frames. WGC captures that DWM rate. And then GDI captures only older games. So it is recommended to really put this at DXGI, especially for newer games, which I've done here. I left it at DXGI. Coming down here where it says preferred GPU, default, it was auto. I drop it down. There's really no other option anyway. Same for output display, left it on auto. Crop input, completely skipped that area. Didn't need to use it, so I skipped it. Behavior, I drop this down. Multi-display mode, turn that on if you're running multiple monitors. If not, leave it off. Honestly, I run 2 screens anyway. I left it off, didn't really seem to matter. Legacy is if you're running in windowed mode. Now, I will tell you this, and probably something I should have mentioned at the start of the video, is you must be in borderless windowed mode or windowed mode for this to work. This will not work in exclusive full screen mode. So if you downloaded this or you purchased this and you're trying to run it and you're like, oh man, it's not working, you have to be in borderless windowed mode, which I believe Wilds runs in borderless windowed by default anyways. So this really shouldn't be a problem for this game, but you can use this tool for any of your games, not just Wilds. For any game, you can run this tool and it works absolutely like magic. I love this program. Now, our next step is to click on the scale button, and it's going to give you a 5-second countdown timer to click off onto the game that you're trying to get, FrameGen to run on. So what we're going to do here is click on scale. You see that timer? It says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click on the game in that amount of time. And then what it's going to do, you see that little flash? I don't know if the recording picked that up or not, but basically the screen will flash and come back to the game like this. And now the game has got FrameGen, honestly, and this is with DLSS as well. You don't have to have the AMD FSR selected with FrameGen. You can do DLSS with this one as well. Now, here's another thing too, is there's a hotkey for this program. If you click on settings, you're going to see a scalable hotkey or a scale hotkey. Right now, it's set to Control-Alt-S in case you want to run this in the background and not pull up this program all the time. Another thing too is you see where it says scaling type. Watch this. In real time, I'm going to put up the sharpness all the way to 10. Click on the game, and you're going to see that now our sharpness is like overblown, and it's at the maximum of 10 for NIS. Okay, so you can adjust that in real time. Let me go and put it back to about 2. Click back off, and you'll see it's right back to kind of how I prefer it. But this is what the game is like with that program on. Now, you can take this a little further as well. If you really want to get more out of your system here, you can actually download and use a program called DLSS Swapper. And simply download this and then click on Monster Hunter Wilds and then click on the DLSS version. Click right here and grab the latest DLSS version. Click on swap. Now, for some reason, I don't really see an FSR right here. This is not found. I can't actually get the latest FSR for this. I'm not sure why that is, but the Intel XeSS, I can do that as well. We can click this right here, click swap, okay? Another good program to use is the Nvidia Profile Inspector Revamped version, okay? There's several versions out there, but there's a newer one called Revamped. I just found out about this recently, and I love this program. It's really awesome. I'll leave links down below. So what you would want to do here is in the profile section, look for Monster Hunter Wilds, and then make sure that the executable is actually linked to the profile in this green section in the top where it says Monster Hunter Wilds beta.exe. If it's not there, come over here and click that plus symbol and then go to where the game is installed and then simply add that executable to the profile. That's if it's not there. So what you're going to do next is come down to DLSS overrides. This is if you don't want to use the DLSS Swapper. If you don't want to use that tool, you can come in here and come down to the SR preset, which is super resolution preset, by the way. And you can drop this down and click on the very bottom area called latest preset, which as of this video, it's version 310 plus. You'll click that. And then at the very top right-hand corner, you're gonna click Apply Changes. Now, we go into the game and we're gonna go into the options and then tab over to the graphics tab here. And what I've done here is I'm using the upscaling super resolution imaging of DLSS. You can do FSR if you'd like. Now, one thing that I did notice, at least in the beta compared to the benchmark, is whenever I apply the latest DLSS 4, it's not showing up right here in the game. Like the number is not showing up, but it looks like the image quality does look like DLSS 4. So if someone can confirm that, let me know. So from here, what I did was I selected upscaling mode, play around with this. If you have a lower end graphics card, check out quality, check out balance, and check out performance if you choose to do so. Another thing here is, if you really are squeezing a performance, you're trying to get more performance, your texture quality will definitely hit your performance. So go ahead and open that up and lower this as well. Your mesh quality and fur quality also will hit your performance quite a bit. I did turn off motion blur as well. I felt like the game was already kind of blurry already. So I went ahead and turned this off, but I didn't really notice a performance boost, but you can turn it off if you don't like it. Another one here is the distance shadow quality or anything that has to do with shadows. I'd probably go ahead and lower shadow quality down to high or medium, and then distance shadow quality down from high to low. Another thing too is the fog quality on the third tab. You'll see volumetric fog. This is also a pretty big GPU hog is the high to low, so you can put this on low for even better. Now, variable rate shading, if you have this option, I've been playing around with this. I didn't notice any performance at all, like performance boost. I've tried off balance and performance. Didn't really notice a difference in any of it, not even image quality. So I'm not really quite sure if this is actually working or not. It may be, I'm just not sure, but I left mine on balanced. Seems to be fine, but again, I don't really see the difference. I don't really feel or notice a difference. Okay, this next section of the video is for those that are content creators who have to do recording with capture cards. You're on YouTube, you're on Twitch, or whatever it is that you do, and you have to merge your displays, okay? So basically, what I do is I still use the lossless scaling program, okay? But here's the thing. When you run this, right, you hit scale, we all know what happens from here, right? You click it just like that, and the frames tank to like 5 frames, 8 frames, just like this right here. You see? It's like not playable. We can't do this. That's because we've merged our capture card display with our display. So what do? This is what I do. I hit the Windows key, and then I open up the program, and I click on Unscale, and then I click back on the game after I've already scaled it. And for some reason, it actually somewhat still works. And the reason I say somewhat is because if you're doing a single display with lossless scaling, you're going to get 100% frame gen. It really does. It does wonders. I notice a difference big time. However, when you merge your displays for capture card reasons, you can still use this tool and it still stays on in the background, but at basically half the performance that you would get if you had a single display. As of right now, I can tell a difference that the program is still like sort of kind of on in the background. Does that make sense? Because now I'm not getting any of those weird like frame stutters or jittery mess or, caching, all that stuff that would happen before if you didn't run the program. So this is still a somewhat of a solution for folks like us who are doing content creation. You can still use this. Yes, you can use this in other games as well. I use this in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and it works wonders. Hope the video helps, guys. Thanks for watching.